Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, I don't want to say old friend back, but I've known Fran Spayne for 20 years at least. And it was a Course in Miracles romance right from the start. We were both students. My television program here was all about the Course, and Fran has been on numerous times. She sat with 20 Women of God once. And it's just great to have her back. She gets more beautiful every day, and she's a powerful woman. And Fran, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Penelope. Thanks for having me.
Oh, listen, Miracle Lady, you have done so much since I met you. I mean, we were both course students and excited, and we've grown a lot together. And today we're talking about forgiveness, which is really a powerful phrase to even understand, because sometimes it takes a minute. And I'm bringing that up right away because when I think of my own struggles with forgiveness, I've been upset with myself if I didn't have it in a minute. When I had to sit with it or process it or maybe weep again the next month before I got clean. But we want to talk about forgiveness, and we want to talk about what you do. You're from Concord.
Yes.
And your website, I want to say right off the top, is miracleworks.org.
Miracle Work.
Miracle Work, take the S off.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
So you want to talk about forgiveness, manifesting, all the wonderful things you do. I'll let you just take over.
Okay. Well, I think forgiveness is a huge topic, really. I mean, I think that when we forgive, it's really for us. You know, we think that, you know, we need to forgive to let somebody else off the hook, to make what they've done is okay, or it's really not about that at all. Sometimes the person that we want to forgive is really continuing the same old behavior. It's really about healing us from within. It's about letting go of any resentment or any fear that we have that's going on inside of us.
Because it hurts you.
It hurts us. It hurts us. It hurts us physically. It hurts us emotionally. It really does take its toll. It affects our immune system.
Very good to hear that.
Yeah, it weakens us physically.
So even if we don't see the outward manifestation of a change, shall we say, in the behavior of another that we're forgiving, and it doesn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter. We have to let go of the attachment to the outcome for that. Now, sometimes when we do forgive, there is an outward manifestation and a change in our relationship with the other person, in a situation that we find ourselves in. Our life might change in some way, but we need to do it to get peace for ourselves. And that's the kind of the gauge about whether we've really forgiven or not, is if we feel peaceful about it.
In other words, if you wake up and you're wrestling with a story in your head and the little chatter's going on, you might say, well, I guess I'm not through yet. Or, I mean, can it take a little while? Or
it can take a very long time. I think that forgiveness is a journey. Like you can set your intention to forgive, and the actual process can take many years. And I think that just allowing the process to unfold on your own term and your own time, and to be gentle with yourself. You know, the whatever's happened can be from mild to wild. It can, but most of the time, when we have these filters that we get created, or these the way we view the world, we establish them in the informative years, so that when we encounter situations, it can be in a relationship, in a workplace, or a friend, or another family member, we get triggered from old stuff from our childhood. So a lot of times in the day-to-day routine of life, we get triggered, and we want to blame the other person, or we want to feel victimized, or at the cause of what they've done. And it's just an opportunity for us to heal those little wounds inside that we have. And if it's a bigger thing, you know, we've all either witnessed something big that's happened to somebody else, or we've had something happen to us that's big. And so sometimes those are bigger opportunities to go towards forgiveness.
So a dynamic from an early time can come up in disguise of someone else. It's just the same button pusher.
And it can come in the form of like a tone of voice, the way someone asks you to do something, or demands you to do something, or suggests that you do something. It can be as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a victim, but I have to tell you, I mean, it took years for me to go through the disguise of a dynamic through numerous folks.
Yeah.
And I was hard on myself. It's like, when is this going to end? And believe it or not, it finally does. I mean, it does.
When
And-
you really want it to.
But yeah,
You have
but
to want it
if you
to.
keep pulling it up, it's very interesting that we shouldn't beat ourselves up. And I was tending to do that, which is easy to do when you think, oh, not again.
Right.
But
Right. Well, I think that we want to fix it on the outside, and I think that that's the problem. Is like we think that we've encountered one more relationship that pushes this button, one more and if I just do something different on the outside, if I just behave differently, if I act differently, if I correct something in my behavior, that it will change. And it's not about the outside, it's about the inside. It's about making the correction and the change on the inside and really bringing it to the place in you where God lives.
And you're helping me to say, because the mask will come off, and sooner than later, you'll be with it again. I mean,
Right.
you can't sort of hide that, can you?
Right. No, you cannot hide it.
Yeah.
And
Until you do the real inner.
inner work, yeah. And it's going to show up, like you said, relationship after relationship. It's just, people are just going to show up in your life until you till you finally get it. That it's not about other people, it's about you.
I love the way the Course says it's like the major hook or the final hook. If you don't get it with all this, guess what?
Right, right.
So with the work that you do, you work privately?
Yes, I do. I do counseling and coaching with private clients.
Okay.
I either do that on the phone or in person. And I think that my greatest asset in the counseling and coaching, even though I've had psychotherapy training, I don't use the traditional model. I feel that it's helpful, but it's not to the fullest advantage of the client to use all that model, like taking history and taking notes. Like I take a history. If I take a history, then I keep remembering the person the way they were the last time I saw them. If I don't take notes, it allows me to stay in the moment and use my greatest gift, which is my intuition, my ability to read the person. So when a person, for example, what you just talked about, keeps showing up in your life and they keep pushing your buttons, I'm able to read the vibration of that and tell you exactly when that, which is usually a limiting belief, started. It can be when you were born. It can be at age 3 or 5, whenever it is that you've had an event that created that belief in your mind. You actually hold a vibration in you, and that's why you attract other people in your life, because you put out that vibration. And like attracts like. So you keep attracting people to that vibration. They keep showing up in your life till you change your vibration. So when I work with somebody, I'm able to actually read the vibration of the emotional problem or limiting belief and identify an age or a situation in which they first developed that.
You're able to guide them back and help them to remember maybe what it was originally, or...
Well, actually, I can see it.
You can see it.
Intuitively.
I love it.
It's an intuitive thing.
That's
I actually can read the vibration of when it happened and then help them to get clarity on it.
That must be exciting.
It's fun.
Now, do you work in corporations at all?
I do. I teach a class. It's Law of Attraction. I teach the power of the mind and the mind-body connection. And my mission is to help create more peace in the world. And I really believe that if we knew how powerful we really were, really that we create everything in our life from our thoughts and our beliefs, that we would have more peace. That we wouldn't have the jealousy. We wouldn't have the greed. We wouldn't have the fighting and the wars that we have now. Ultimately, we would have more peace if we knew just how powerful we really were. So I'm able to teach workshops in the community ed, local hospital, in corporations, to help people understand that just how powerful they are.
Now, on your website, if you do you have all of this on your website? If someone wants to be in touch with you and take a seminar, they can find you.
They can find me.
Are you limited to the Boston area? Would you travel? Have Fran will travel?
I will travel. I would.
Okay.
And I have clients, I have clients, individual clients all over the world, that I can read the vibration and do the coaching and the counseling from anywhere.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What if someone on the Cape said, hey, could you come on down, I'll get a group together?
I'm here today.
I know.
Yeah, so
well,
there we go.
that's just a
Yeah,
thought for
yes.
our friends who are watching the show, if they want to have you
do a class?
Yeah.
I would love to do a class. I do a lot of classes for individual groups of friends, church groups, like companies who want to collectively learn about how powerful their minds are and how to manifest. And I think when you get together as a group, you can begin to develop a support group so that when you fall back or you forget, that you can support each other in remembering who you are and what is possible.
That's very critical, isn't it?
It is, to having a support group.
Now, is this a lot like the famous book, The Secret? Help me with that. I know that came out and Oprah had it on and everybody was talking about it.
Right.
And then some folks would say, oh, that's too impossible. And some folks thought it was too easy, so we can't attain it.
Right.
Can you relate to that? Is that a fair question?
Yeah. I think that law of attraction, well, I know law of attraction, that concept has been around for thousands of years. It's not a new concept.
Yeah.
I think when The Secret came out, it did a great service to mankind because it brought that level of consciousness up.
Yeah.
It made people think about, well, is anything possible for me? Is it really true that I can manifest all these things?
Yeah.
I think that the criticism was focused a lot on the material things. And,
okay.
And it did.
Sure.
And it did. Like visualizing, looking in the window and visualizing this necklace, can I have it? And but I don't condemn them for that. I think that, again, whatever we can do to raise the level of consciousness to believe that anything is possible. So what if you manifest a necklace? I mean, I manifested this one. You know what I mean? It's like
and who cares what level it's on? It's all about the process.
It's the process.
Yeah, and if you start with a necklace, think of where it could take you.
Well, yeah, and I really feel if we can get kids to understand that they can manifest things, that we wouldn't be in the place that we're in government today, in the world today, in greed.
Yes.
That we would be more kind and we wouldn't be as jealous about what other people have, that we knew that we could have anything that we wanted.
That's very interesting that you said that. It would dissolve.
It would dissolve.
All of that.
Yeah. So that's my tie to world peace.
Yeah.
That's why I do this.
Yeah.
So I do charge for my services and I do charge for the workshops that I teach, but all the money I get from the workshops, I donate to other peace organizations.
Yeah.
I just keep putting it back into the peace.
I was going to bring that up because I think that is just magical that you do that. I think you take it in and you
put it back.
Put it back.
Yeah, I really believe that strongly, that we could create world peace through this.
Yes.
I do. Just by changing our minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do seminars, you work one-on-one, you would travel to do a group.
Right.
And do you feel that, I don't know what before the course came along, but you feel that was a springboard for you, or do you use it still? I mean, when you say you don't use your psychotherapy so much, like I've been to them where they've taken notes and I've just thought, oh, I'm going to go home because nobody's here.
Right.
You know, so I just wondered, in the world of the course where the inner teacher, we all learn to trust the voice and know we have guidance.
Right.
You've cultivated that.
I have. You know, I really feel that we all have that.
Yeah.
And we all have that. And so before I ever speak to anybody, I always pray. And the entire time that I'm speaking to them, there's an inner prayer going on. There's a communion going on with God, with the Holy Spirit, and saying, I don't have any idea why I'm sitting here talking to Penelope, or I don't have any idea why this client is in front of me or on the phone with me, or why this group of people is here. I just know that you know. I know that there's a higher purpose. There's something going on that's more than I could possibly imagine with my little pea brain.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't psychoanalyze anybody and use those skills that I learned. I mean, they're good to be able to have a reference point.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's limiting me to my little mind.
Yeah.
And when I allow myself to open up to the Spirit, I open up to a whole universe of information that I wouldn't have been able to do, or I would have cut myself off from if I just tried to figure out and think of the answer.
Yeah. So you really have guidance.
I do.
And you know everyone does.
Right.
And that's why you sit in meditation and you ask that answers come to you. And isn't that just the most joyous thing in the world?
Right.
To receive and share. And
yeah. It makes me happy. It really does.
Yeah.
Like, if I can focus on who I am as a spiritual being, it really does bring me to a level of joy that I wouldn't have had if I focused on like some of the things that have happened in my life, and my life has looked like, you know, it's been pretty difficult.
A train wreck.
Yeah, well, yeah. If I mean, that's the way I would describe it, if that's the way I continue to believe that it is.
Right.
Yeah, but because I grew up in a very difficult situation, very difficult environment. And I could continue to live that out if I wanted to. I can continue to see myself as a victim
As
of
a
that.
victim.
And that's not the case for
And
me.
live that story.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
And
not
you
the
know, the
case.
beauty of you, Fran, is it must have been rough, because look what you had to let go of. I do sometimes have that feeling that if it's really bad and you're not at peace, you really have to step up to the plate.
Right.
And
I think sometimes the harder it is, the more ratcheted up it is.
Yeah.
That it really does bring you to your knees, and and it really makes you want to look for a better way.
Yeah.
And that's how A Course in Miracles really came to be, is that Helen and Bill, the course was channeled through Helen. Helen said there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
There's got to be a better way to life. There's got to be more to life than just this.
Yeah.
And
maybe it'll give us patience too, because you said, I mean, if a life is dramatic and traumatic and has a lot of abandonment and loss, maybe it can allow us to be more patient with some of our friends who haven't had a real rough time. I mean, but sometimes we have to understand that.
Right.
I mean, people handle things differently, and
right.
Some step up to the plate, and as you say, some would prefer their old story because they want to wear that shoe.
Right.
Yeah, they
And
want to
some people-
whine.
Well, some people are invested in holding on to it, and that is their choice. And all you can do is be a model for something different.
Yeah.
So I just try to live it from that place and not judge them, because I think that judging them only hurts me.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to the Course in Miracles says ideas do not leave their source.
Yeah.
So if I'm judging them, I'm feeling that vibration of judgment. It's affecting every cell in my body. It's hurting who I am.
Well, tell me more medically. I mean, we can grow things. I mean, we can hold on to things, and we can create problems in our body, blockages.
Yep.
I mean, just from not being free,
Right.
from not being receivers, from not getting the cleansing of healing.
Right.
So,
I think Bruce Lipton kind of sums it up the best. Who
is he?
Bruce Lipton wrote a fabulous book called Biology of Belief.
Oh.
And he talks about the 50 trillion cells that live within us and how they mirror our mind.
Interesting.
Every cell mirrors every thought we think and every belief we have. So if Fran is angry, and Fran is angry like every day, or resentful, or holding a grudge, then all my cells are reflecting that.
Yeah.
And eventually they become disorganized. And that's what cancer cells are, is they become disorganized, and they begin to pull out of the system. He says that they're like homeless cells that begin to pull out of the system.
Boy, that's
and
interesting.
rebel and revolt against the system. And then they create, and so, and every cell has these little, they look like little tentacles that take in nourishment. They do everything. Every cell is like a little microcosm of what you can do. So you take in nourishment, you take in vitamins and supplements, and you have ability to give off waste, you have the ability to reproduce. Cells do the same thing. So when they become disorganized, when they become bombarded with negative thoughts and feelings and beliefs, fear, anxiety, worry, they when they split off and they become new cells, because they continue to reproduce, they lose those, I'm going to call them tentacles for the lack of the medical term, but they do lose those little tentacles that take in nourishment and discard waste. So
you said homeless, is that what you call them?
He calls them homeless cells.
I love that.
They pull out of the system.
I never want to forget that, homeless cells.
They pull out of the system.
Abandoned cells.
Yeah.
Not taken care of, not nourished.
Right.
Kicked out.
Yep. So again, we produce, human beings reproduce, cells reproduce themselves. So when cells get reproduced, they lose their ability to take in nourishment, they lose their ability to discard waste, and they're sick cells.
Yeah.
Which
can manifest in a million ways.
In a million different ways, yeah. And Louise Hay did some great work. She has a fabulous little book.
You Can Heal Your Life.
Actually, she has a little book that talks about the different organs and the different
The
diseases.
affirmations. Is that the one you mean?
She has affirmations in it,
Yep.
yeah.
For
yeah.
each little thing, right down to your feet.
Right. So like if you have like, I don't know, like asthma or something, and you look up in her little book about what
Yep.
asthma can be related, what emotional component it could have.
Yeah.
I think some of her things
Yeah.
are pretty right on.
Do you remember? I remember when that book came out. I
Long
hate to
time
think
ago.
how long ago.
Long time.
I was blown away. I thought,
Yeah.
this is exciting.
It's very exciting.
And she's still kicking.
She is.
And she's beautiful.
She is.
Yeah.
She is, yeah. She looks a lot, you look like a lot alike,
Oh, thank you.
you and Louise Hay. Beautiful
Okay.
women,
Well,
strong
I'll let her know
women.
she's blessed.
Yes, she is. She is.
So, Fran, you work for yourself.
I do.
And have you been in the other kind of world where you've had to do things you didn't want to do, where you weren't as happy as you are now? Of course.
Of course.
course.
Oh, for many years, many years.
There's a springboard.
Many years. Yeah. I mean, I think I allude to it. I grew up extremely unhappy.
Yeah.
And I was in an unhappy marriage, and I was in an unhappy job, and I was just an unhappy person in an unhappy
miserable
life.
person.
I really was, and I struggled to be happy all the time. But now I do a number of different things. I have my own practices. You just suggested I do social work for a state agency, working with low-income families, trying to help them to become self-sufficient. I volunteer in the men's prison, teaching them.
That's wonderful.
I have to say, that's probably the best thing I do. When I go into the prison and I talk to the men and I look into their eyes and I tell them there is more to them than the crime they committed.
Yeah.
There's more to them than what they think that they have done. And just that little bit of hope for them, just that little bit of saying something to them that
Yeah.
no one's ever said to
They're
them before,
worthwhile.
that they may be worthwhile,
Yeah.
whether they've ever held a job or not.
Yeah.
It brings something alive in them that probably they've never
Yeah.
had anybody say that to them
They
or
have a
look into their.
chance.
They do, and I really hope that at least making an impact in
Yeah.
somebody's life.
Yeah, and from what I'm hearing too, I think as the Course says, we teach what we need to learn. You're keeping yourself afloat
I am.
with your teaching.
Yeah.
You're reminding yourself, and I think that's what we're all supposed to be doing.
Right.
Is find a way to share
Right.
the truth,
Yeah.
to keep ourselves on deck.
Yeah.
Because we can. In our last 5 minutes, it's important to know that we can fall back.
Yes.
We can get lost in the darkness again. And I think there's a maintenance program that has to
Right.
take place,
Right.
which you probably teach.
Which, you said it in the beginning, like, would I do a group? Yes, I would do a group, and I think that having a network of spiritual partners, as I call them,
Yeah.
is helpful.
Yeah.
That's why the 12-step programs are so successful, because they have a network of people to help support them so that they don't fall back into their old behaviors.
Yeah.
And I think having spiritual partners and having a spiritual support group
Yeah.
doesn't have to be religion. It can be one spiritual buddy that you can call up and say, I'm having a really bad day today.
Yeah.
And this is what I do. I get triggered because I'm in a human body. I'm having a human experience, and I continue to work on whatever it is I need to work on. But I'll call somebody that I've made an agreement with, and I'll say, do you know, so and so just blah blah blah. Now my agreement with them ahead of time is, if I call up complaining about somebody, don't ever let me hang up the phone. Don't ever believe me. One, don't ever believe me. But don't ever let me hang up the phone without reminding me of the truth, that it's about me. That it's
Yeah.
about me that get triggered, and it's the inner work that I need to continue to do, and
Yeah.
it's not about the other person.
Yeah.
And not about criticizing me or
Yeah,
saying you're
listening.
wrong or
Yeah.
don't believe, like not validating my experience, really hearing me and then gently reminding me about the truth about who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter told me once about a group where she went in New York City where they do the course. And I forgot the name of the group, but they all sit around, and if you have a story to tell, they let you tell it. And they watch you. As you finish the story, you've come right around to a complete healing about what it was about. You did it all by yourself because they gave you this
Space.
the space and the grace.
Right.
And after a while, you would go right, you were allowed that.
Right. That's fabulous.
So I think,
Byron Katie's work is
Oh.
pretty similar. It's like,
Yes.
you know, she asked you if it really is true. It's what people are interested in doing some of this work. The Work. It's
Yeah.
called The Work. I think you can go to Byron Katie's website. I think it is thework.org or .com or something,
Yeah.
and it's fabulous. She has a set of 4 questions, and you just ask yourself those 4 questions, and you come to the place always that you feel better if you really want to do the work, and it's really simple work.
Yeah, in our last 2 minutes, though,
Yeah.
I think what I'm hearing is that sharing is very important. 2 and 3 gathered together.
Right.
Maintenance, keeping your head above water.
Right.
You don't just get a big hello and then,
Right.
you know, you walk on water the rest of your life. Maybe some do.
Right.
But it's wise,
Right.
shall we say.
Yeah, and I have to say that what's really turned my life around is to focus on peace. I'm working towards world peace. Peace begins with me.
Yeah.
So every day, if I can see the places in me that I'm really not feeling peace and transform that every day.
Yeah.
Peace begins with me.
Yeah.
So I keep my, so everything I do, anybody asks me to do anything, if it doesn't have a theme of peace, and it doesn't feel good to me, I don't do it.
Yeah, and that just tells me also in our last minute that you're connected to everyone. So as you
Yes.
do, as your cells line up,
Right.
you're joining with everyone else's. You think the Course says the universe is within you.
Right.
I mean, it's
Right.
all there.
Right.
So it's not a small feat
No.
for you to keep yourself healed.
No.
You are healing the world. You're joining because
Yes.
we are connected.
Right, and when you're with somebody that is experiencing peace and that is happy, you feel it,
Yeah.
and it brings you up too.
Don't you love it? You're walking down the street in our last minute and someone smiles or says, I love your hair.
Right,
What a shot in the arm.
right.
It's just those little gifts.
Right.
Someone's smiling at you.
Or somebody really looks at you, or really listens to you, or really hears what you're saying, or pays attention to you, or like gives you a compliment, or even somebody that's happy, somebody that comes into the room and is lit up. You can feel the joy.
Thank you. On our
You're
last
welcome.
note, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Miraclework.org,
Yeah.
Fran Spayne. I hope my friends will be in touch with you.
Thank you, Penelope.
Thank you, my friends, for joining us on Awaken the Dream. I will talk to you next week.